It's me, Pastor Rob, and welcome to Montpelier Cemetery. Some of you may not know this, but this is actually the cemetery of St. Paul. And Pastor Robert and I are often doing burials here. In fact, the camera is resting on a gravestone for two members of the Bry family. And not surprisingly, the stone has some music notes etched into it. In fact, it's all creatures of our God and King. And then I'm looking right there, and actually one of the very first funerals that I did at St. Paul for Homer Adams. So I'm surrounded here by this beautiful cloud of witnesses. And I'm also at the cemetery because this summer, this is the summer leadership update, and I want to let you know that behind the scenes this summer, we were doing some work in the cemetery. Not so much with bricks and mortar, but actually with technology. We want to digitize the records so that when you have a loved one here, you can type into the internet and it will show you on a map, that's our hope, where your loved one is buried. Another one of the hopes is that we can use then sort of this updated list and maybe do some fundraising. You can hear off in the distance, there's a mower kind of way back there in the cemetery, and there's a perpetual care fund, and we think that probably needs just a little bit more to kind of endure for the next century. It's kind of fun to start thinking about things in terms of generations and cemeteries. This summer, Council also got together and really reflected on how we want to spend the surplus that you guys had given in 2023, especially some year-end special gifts. And one of those was giving some away to our partner ministries. We talked about that. One of those now was also some work in the cemetery. But then Council decided on a few other projects that we think will benefit the ministry in the present, but also maybe even for generations to come. The one of those, and I talked about this in July, was the narthex to kind of really improve the sound and the seating there for the overflow capacity. Another is there's a few classrooms in the basement. Classroom number 8, the youth room, and also the scout room, and we think we can maybe update those and make those a little bit better for a teaching environment. Because we have so many people that are hungry for the small group and kind of learning environments we do on Sunday. We also are thinking about upgrading the choir room. It's probably in need of at least a paint job. But we'd like to make that another multimedia learning center. So that way, if there was a meeting in the media room, but somebody else really wanted to Zoom for a particular meeting or something, they'd have another space. And we think if we can do that, we can also broadcast the service there during worship. And then people, if there's overflow or they just want a small, sort of a fewer people, they can go there into that environment by themselves or with their kids or whatever. Lastly, we want to put some money, continue to put money aside for future pastors and deacons. This church had a really good experience helping Kimberly Todd through seminary. And right now we have 3 people who are considering seminary. And we'd like to be able to encourage them with books or other expenses. And in part because we think that some of them may end up as future employees or clergy at St. Paul. But at St. Paul, we have a health now. We've achieved a level of health where I think God is challenging us and calling us to take a leadership role beyond St. Paul and really ask ourselves, how can we help it so that not just generations past, but generations to come will praise the living Lord? Indeed, as Psalm 22 says, a generation yet unborn. So we start with the cemetery and the generations past, but this summer we're making investments to help future generations praise God, from whom all blessings flow.